profit civic association. As a nonprofit, we encourage everyone to become a member, which can easily be done through our website. There are several benefits of being a member, one of which is being notified of all proposed zoning changes within our area. CCRA is the recognized registered community organization, RCO, for our area. Our boundaries are from South Street to JFK and Broad Street to the Schuylkill River. Our committee works as follows. First, applicants are to present. We ask the applicants address the specific refusals or referrals. We ask for no interruptions as applicants give their full presentation. After the presentation, the zoning committee will have a chance to ask questions. After the zoning committee's questions are completed, we would open up questions and comments to the community. When addressed, we ask that you state your name and address. We ask that you keep your questions succinct and to the variance being discussed. And we also ask that you try not to repeat others' questions. If you agree with someone, you're welcome to just raise your hand and state that you agree. So after we hear from all applicants and listen to the community comments, our committee meets in a closed session and we vote in 3 ways. 1, oppose, 2, not oppose, and 3, not oppose with provisos. The CCRA never votes in favor of any application. Our decision is then emailed to the councilperson, the ZBA, and the applicant. And we also post everything on the CCRA website. It is important that no matter how we decide, if you're concerned with a project, we strongly recommend that you attend the ZBA hearing. That's the best way to make your concerns known. We can not express individual neighbors' point of view. Only a property owner or aggrieved individual can express their personal concerns to the ZBA. And then with that said, I will just go ahead with our agenda for tonight. We have 2 cases and the first of which is a referral, 1600 to 02 Chestnut Street. This is an application for a takeout restaurant in an existing structure and with other uses as previously approved. And this supplemental use control is in the center city overlay. And that is the reason for the referral. So with that said, I'll quickly explain the difference between a refusal and a referral. For a refusal, the burden is on the applicant to demonstrate why the community should accept the zoning change. For a referral, the burden is on the community as to why not to accept the zoning change. So this first one here is a referral. So it's really just to get the community aware of the proposed restaurant because of the overlay. So I will go ahead and hand it over to that presenter.
Thank you. That would be me, Ron Patterson. Good evening.
Thanks, Ron.
Thank you. So I share my screen, if you don't mind.
Yes, please.
Okay. So as you mentioned, this regards 1600-02 Chestnut Street. This is the referral. Again, as we're proposing a restaurant, in this case, takeout. And because it fronts on Chestnut Street, it's within the overlay that requires the special exception. And I'll show you my deck now. Okay, so the exhibit deck here showing it's the former Wisvis Bank at the corner of 1600 Chestnut Street. What we're proposing here tonight, with me is Jason Botcher, is a Wonder restaurant. This is the first foray of Wonder into Philadelphia. There are at least 35 in New York City, and we're happy to see them come into Philadelphia. It's a unique restaurant, takeout restaurant, unique in what it provides. And you'll see that as you go through here, that we meet all the typical criteria that the CCRA expects: interior storage of trash, and we're well aware of the typical proviso conditions. So with that, I think we'll just get into explaining what the use is here. Jason, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Great. You want to tell the association your name and what your affiliation with Wonder is?
Sure. It's Jason Botcher. I'm an associate director on the governance team over here at Wonder. I've been with the company for about 4 years now. Before that, I was a zoning officer and planner, and apparently I was a pain, so they figured it was better to have me on their team.
Took you away. So, this is new and novel to Philadelphia. So why don't you just give a 2 or 3 minute corporate description of Wonder and weave it into what the operations are here. I'll control the exhibit deck here.
Sure. If you want to go to slide number 3, that would be great.
Okay, sure.
So for those of you who are not familiar, like Ron had mentioned, we are a newcomer into the QSR world, and we take a pretty novel approach to how we tackle the business and how we compete with with the other competitors in the market. Wonder's strategy is really focused on our partnerships. We partner with chefs and restaurants from across the country and work with them to reproduce their cuisines in our restaurants using our proprietary production methods. Some of these partners are well-known celebrity chefs. Bobby Flay was one of our first partners, and I believe is actually still a board member. Michael Simon is a partner. Jose Andreas is a partner. And then best-in-class restaurants from across any number of cuisines. Tejas Barbecue, which is just outside of Dallas. DeFara Pizza out of Brooklyn. I always love bringing that one up for the Philly meetings, just because of the rivalry. Chai Pani, which is award-winning street food out of North Carolina. And then we also have white label restaurants, as we call them. We have an incredible slate of talented chefs on staff that have created some really impressive menus that are actually some of our best sellers. But our approach to the business and our production methods allow us to include any number of menu items out of one location. And that's really how we differentiate ourselves in the marketplace. So the way we interact with customers and interface with customers is really through a mobile application. That's really the key. Everything is done either through the Wonder app. We're obviously also available on third-party apps like DoorDash or Grubhub. But you can order any number of restaurants or cuisines, mix and match. Really the goal here is to eliminate that argument that you have over dinner when somebody wants to order Chinese, the other person wants to order a cheesesteak, the other person wants to order pizza. You can do it all in one order with us. And so that it's really a great selling point to provide really elevated, I don't want to call it fast food because it is not fast food, but elevated takeout in comparison to what you find elsewhere in the marketplace.
And you also have, as I'm showing here, eat-in capabilities as well.
Yes. So we do offer so our design and Ron has smartly moved over to the renderings. If you want to go to slide 8, I can kind of walk you through the design of this space. So this is walking into the space. We'll have a nice tiled mosaic floor. You can see there's going to be some pickup shelves. Obviously, this is an urban location, so you're going to expect a decent amount of delivery coming out of this location, along with pickup. As you move on to the next slide, you'll see this is pretty typical of our design for our front of house. Limited seating. I think we're slated for about eight seats here, mostly focused on bar tops facing out onto Chestnut. But you can see it's really meant to be a high quality. It's meant to feel high quality, reflective of our food and our product. Warm, welcoming, inviting, and our design team has really done an amazing job creating a front of house that accomplishes that goal. If you want to move on to slide 10. This is actually, these are some photographs of an existing site that we have in northern New Jersey in Midland Park. I always use these photos because it's one of my favorite designs. It's very, very open, very airy, very bright. And then on the right, you can see an example of a mosaic floor that we have in one of our New York City locations. And that's going to be pretty reflective of what's intended to be installed here. The next slide is just an illustrative example of some of our signage packages. We design most of our sites to be compliant with any local regs regarding signage, so size, massing, illumination style. Everything is generally consistent with whatever constraints exist in the zoning ordinance. So that's one of our New York City locations on the left, a Westchester, New York location on the top right, and then another New Jersey location on the bottom right. And then if you look at the following slide, this is actually an updated signage package. I believe your site is going to be one of the first with the new fork logo, which is pretty cool. That's not going to be put around to the sites that are already open. So you guys are going to be one of the first, assuming you guys look fondly on our application. Not proposing any significant exterior changes here. Just signage, and we're not going to be doing much with the facade except for removing that existing ATM and adding some more windows and light into the space. So really high level, obviously it's like I said, it's a unique approach to the QSR world and our approach to the business and partnerships. Some of the operational details, for urban locations, we're usually open 11 to 9:30 or 11 to 10. We don't really open much later than that. We're open for lunch and dinner service only. Service area is really a 12 to 15 minute delivery radius around the site. We really like to keep that constrained. And namely because, our reputation is built upon food quality, and food quality is directly related to food temp. So we really
And Jason, since you control the app for the ordering, you can queue and time orders and delivery, so there's no.
Yeah, absolutely. So we are very, very tech forward. So in terms of that delivery operation, we are in a unique position to exact quite a bit of control over couriers. So we bought a company called Relay about 18 months ago. We bought them because of their approach to third-party delivery. And the way it works is couriers are pre-vetted and they have to be accepted as a courier for any given restaurant location. They are not direct employees of Wonder. They are independent contractors. But we manage the number of couriers associated with the site through reservation slots. So an approved courier has to reserve a 30-minute reservation slot or courier slot through the app, and the number of reservation slots is dependent upon what the projected volume for a given half an hour period is. So we obviously, being very, very tech and data heavy, we have a very good understanding of what volume is going to be for a site any given night, and the number of reservation slots, and summarily the number of couriers associated with a site is reflective of that.
Okay, and let's take a look at this floor plan. So
Sure.
the way this is laid out, my cursor here is 16th Street, and this is the Chestnut Street frontage.
Yeah.
So this is your space, approximately 3,700 square feet, correct?
Correct.
And this red, we'll call it rectangle, depicts the front of house operations open to the public.
Yeah, you can see on the right side, that's just a blown up version showing what that patron experience would look like in terms of a flow, whether it's for pickup or eating in and for couriers as well.
And I'm going to zoom in here just to show this is your interior storage of trash area, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then your trash would be removed by a commercial trash hauler?
Yeah, we would have a commercial trash hauler picking up refuse daily.
Okay. I think that's all I have. I'd open up to questions, to learn more about Wonder, but that's the concept. Is this another entrance here, Jason?
No, that is an adjacent tenant.
Okay, that's what this depicts. Okay, just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I think I'll start with some committee members to see if anybody has any questions from the committee. I'll go ahead and answer just raised hands. I see Bob Lane. Go ahead, please.
Hi, very good presentation. Thanks, Ron. Thanks, Jason.
Well,
I have two questions. One's just curiosity, and the other, I guess, is more relevant. The curiosity one is, you referred a number of times to your competitors in the market. My own ignorance, who in Center City, Philadelphia does what you do?
So I say that, and I say it broadly, just referring to really QSRs that everybody knows of, like the Chipotles of the world, Cava, you know, Naya,
They all make
restaurants
their
like
own,
that.
they all make their own food. Okay, so that
So-
leads actually segues into my second question. With all these partners, and I don't recognize a lot of the names, maybe one or two. How do you get all their, do you stock all their, that's 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. I know it's not limited to that, but how do you get their, all their haute cuisine
Good.
delivered to you? And do you stock it? Are trucks coming and going every day? What's the story?
So we take a delivery once daily of product into the restaurant, and we do that to make sure everything is coming in and we're stocking enough for that day. So it is a daily delivery. That's always before opening hours, and we do have a walk-in box if you want to show a refrigerated walk-in box.
And they're not all delivering individually. You're collecting all their stuff, and it's one
That's
delivery morning. Okay.
correct. That's coming from our production facility.
Thank
And
you.
what do you do with the food? I guess some of it is prepared, pre-cooked. How do you handle it when it's
Yeah,
when
so
the product's getting in?
we have several production facilities in northern New Jersey, and from there, product is delivered daily to all of our restaurants.
And what do you do here to prepare the food for final sale?
So kitchen here, so final prep and cook takes place on site using a variety of different pieces of equipment. Yeah, I don't really include the layout for the kitchen itself, all the kitchen
Sure.
equipment. But yeah, the final cook and final prep does take place on site.
Okay.
I gather the truck comes in on the back street, right? Not on Walnut Street?
So it would come in on the side street. I don't believe it would deliver onto on Chestnut because there's no curb parking there. There's no delivery.
Yes.
16th Street. Yeah.
16th Street.
Ionic Street or 16th Street, Ron?
16th. Ionic Street would be where the trash is removed.
16th Street's
Okay.
heavily trafficked.
Well, it's either 16th or Chestnut. And, you know, again, that there's no lay-by lane to stop on Chestnut Street, so at least we can lay up on 16th.
You don't have a door entrance on 16th Street.
Yeah, they would walk through the front of house directly on, but obviously, like Ron had mentioned, there's no parking lane on Chestnut, so that delivery would come from 16th.
Okay, I see Ben Zuckerman has his hand raised from our committee.
Yeah, a couple of questions. The application that you file says it's going to be a takeout restaurant, but in fact, it's a takeout and a sit-down restaurant. Is that correct?
We
Yeah,
do
so-
have. Go ahead. Ron.
So, you know, way the code is written, eat-in restaurant doesn't allow takeout. Takeout allows eat-in. So we go with takeout and explain what the full service is. But yeah,
Right.
you're correct.
And what are your venting arrangements for cooking
Mhm.
odors and smoke and everything?
So I would have to double check. I don't believe there are any new wall penetrations that are proposed. But I would have to, I don't know if we're venting to the roof. I don't have that answer for you, unfortunately.
All right, because one of the, I'm sure Ron's familiar with this, one of our standard provisos for restaurants where food is actually being prepared is that ventilation must extend to the roof
Correct.
to properly vent all cooking fumes. Is that even feasible in this building? I see many stories above you.
My expectation here, there are other food vendors in this building, is that that's probably what they're doing. And it's probably, I would imagine it has to be set up for venting to the roof.
So just as of now, you really don't know how the venting is going to be done. Is that correct?
I'll be able to pull up those plans in just 1 second, if you could give me a second, and we could circle back to answer your question if you don't mind.
Hey, Ben, sorry to interrupt. This is Jacob Cooper. My understanding of this concept is that it actually doesn't use type 2 exhaust. It's simply electric reheating of the food, which would not necessitate the exhaust penetrations to the roof, but
And that is
feel free
true.
for the,
So-
Is that correct?
yeah, we use a type 2 hood, and that's really just for heat and condensation management, not for odors.
type 1 would just be for heat, and the type 2 would necessitate the full exhaust. I believe you all use just type 1, but because it's only electric, there's no gas needed for your reheating
Correct.
the food.
Oh, okay. Just one or two other questions. As far as the deliveries and the trash pickup and delivery times, what are they proposed to be?
Could you repeat that question, please?
Yeah. What time of the day will you be having deliveries come to the restaurant? And when and or what hours will there be trash pickups and from what location?
So trash pickup would be from the rear alley. All trash pickup is daily before we're open for operation, or open to the public. The same with deliveries to the site. Deliveries would be before service hours. So pre 11 a.m. We usually are on the earlier side.
Okay.
Deliveries would be restricted to any local regulations regarding noise or hours of operation.
All right. And just one other thing, what we often include in our provisos for restaurants like this is that whatever takeout boxes or silverware or plastic or whatever has the name of the restaurant on it. So if there is litter and trash being generated, we know who the source of it is. Is that the situation with your bags? If people are going to pick them up and walk out, do you have things with your name on them?
So all of the bags are branded. They do say Wonder on them. The individual packaging, I do believe some packaging, depending on the order, includes branding, but not all of the packaging.
Okay.
But to be clear though, Jason, this isn't like you're buying a hoagie or a cheesesteak or a slice of pizza.
Correct.
You can walk out and eat it while you're walking out the door, correct?
Yeah, it's nothing. You're not getting anything in paper wrappers, for example. Like that is certainly not the case. Everything is coming nicely packaged in a heavy duty brown bag, essentially, that is branded Wonder.
Great,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your presentation. I had a question. I see that you're in the Center City Overlay District. I wanted to ask if you also have any historic designation on this building that needs to be taken into consideration. And I'm asking because I heard you say that you're going to remove an ATM and add a few windows.
Not historical. I don't
Great.
know. Yes.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else from the committee that has any questions?
No, thank you.
Okay, fantastic. Anybody from the community that has any questions? Alex?
Hi.
I'm sorry. If you would like to just please state your full name and address, that'd be great.
Yeah, sure. Alex Roeder, 412 South Carlisle Street. Just had a question on 16th Street, on your section of the sidewalk. There's currently a U bike parking rack, and I believe that it is the responsibility of the property owners. You can't really see it here because it's behind that truck.
Okay.
But generally, it's the responsibility of property owners to take care of the bike racks on their sidewalks. I just wanted to find out if you were, yeah, there it is. Are you aware of this bike rack, and would you support like maybe giving it a fresh coat of paint? Since this is a takeout restaurant, folks might be picking up food.
I think green would look good, Jason.
A Wonder green bike rack, I can agree to that.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for being so prepared and making it
Thank
so
you.
smooth. We really appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
My pleasure.
Thanks for
Thank
hosting.
you all for the time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, that'll bring us to our second and final presentation. Oh, Catherine, sorry, I didn't see you right away. If you want to go ahead and get started.
Sure, no problem. And thank you all for having us. My name's Kate Missimer. I'm a zoning attorney at Claire Harrison as well. With me tonight is Andrea Salomon from our office, as well as Luba Senatorova of Equinox, and Jeff Carson is our city sign contractor. This proposal is for 2 blade signs for the new Equinox Health Center. Some of you may have seen the notice that went out. I did want to share sort of our presentation as I'm talking, but I wanted to give you a bit of a background. I'm sure you're all familiar with the Laurel project. It's a large project running from Walnut Street through to Sansom Street over Moravian, and it does run from mid-block between 19th and 20th all the way to 20th Street. So it is a large project with multiple uses. I'm sure you're all aware of the Laurel condo building. There are rental units as well. There are restaurant uses, there are retail uses, affordable housing, and it's a large project. The Equinox, this will be the first Philadelphia location. It will be located on the 2nd and 3rd floor. You can see through the windows when we get to those renderings where the location is. There are 2 blade signs proposed, and the reason we are here tonight is because they are proposed above the 1st floor. And again, you'll be able to see in the images why that's so important in this instance. But I wanted to show you first the signs we're proposing. They do have the name brand on the signage. And to orient everyone with where the location is, these 2 red markings that you're seeing on your screen. This is 20th Street here to orient everyone, and this is Sansom. Walnut is further up, and we do not propose a blade sign on Walnut Street. To give everyone, and let me zoom out a little bit, an idea of the building, these tiny red dots you're seeing on the podium are the proposed signs. And again, as you all are aware, the Laurel stretches far above. This is the podium building, and this is where the gym would be located on the 2nd and 3rd floor. Given this location, these signs did go through the Art Commission process as well. We did get feedback from the sign committee, and we did end up lowering the signs from the 3rd floor as originally proposed to the 2nd. And we did shrink the signs relatively significantly in response to those comments. And this is the Art Commission decision. Again, it's approval pending the ZBA outcome, because again, given this zoning district, because the signs are proposed above the 2nd floor windowsill, a variance would be required. These are a few images which I think are really important to understand the placement and the importance of the signs at this location. This is the podium you were seeing in that plan view. This is the Equinox sign we're proposing here on the Sansom Street elevation. Again, the gym will be located in 2nd and 3rd floor, and you'll see that this street is lined with several trees. Were the signs lower at the 1st floor where permitted by code, the trees are easily blocking any signage notifying patrons of where the gym would be located. I have a couple of views here which I think are helpful. This is a closer up view of that signage. These signs are proposed to be statically illuminated. However, they are halo lit. It's just the letters that are illuminated from the rear, and they're halo lit. And I do see your question, Ben. I was just going to run through the rest of the presentation first, and then address any comments if I may. This is the night view, and you'll see the lighting of those signs in comparison to, existing street lighting that's there. Again, this is the Sansom Street elevation, and this is Sansom and 20th. So here's the Sansom Street sign. This is the proposed 20th Street sign. Again, you'll be able to see workout equipment through these windows. This is the area where the gym will be located, the 2nd and 3rd floor. Below us are other uses. There's a lobby entrance here. There are other uses that are utilizing this space. So it would be difficult, again, to drop these signs, I think, to the 1st level. And this is another view of that signage location at the corner. And another night view from the front. Again, this is where the gym would be located, interior, and you'll be able to see treadmills and other equipment through those windows. And a final night view showing both the signs lit at night And you can see in comparison to the street lighting and other signage that's along this corridor, what the impact of that proposed lighting would be. I do think both Jeff and Luba are available to the extent that there are detailed questions, but we did want to walk through sort of the details behind why the location of these two signs is so important in this instance, rather than, you know, being at the first floor level.
Great. Well, thank you for the very thorough presentation. And then just one thing that has there been any discussion with the community about this? And I know that you sent me a petition. Maybe you can just quickly touch on that, and then I'll open up to questions.
Sure,
You have some
sure.
approval.
Yes, we do. We had reached out and put together a petition of support, and we did provide that. And if it would be helpful, I can share that as well. But it was a general petition of support. We obtained, I think, about 20 signatures on that petition as well.
Thank you. All right, I'll go ahead and Ben Weintraub from the committee. If you have a question, go ahead.
Yeah, thanks. Nice presentation, very clear. My only question is the correlation of the signage. I've done a little bit of retail signage. Obviously, your second and third floor, I actually walked both streets, right? Actually, as the meeting started today, so I'm pretty familiar. But wouldn't it be better if you guys are correlated to where either you can go into park or where you enter to go to the gym? You're above, you know, restaurant on the corner, literally above their entrance, somewhat confusing to the customer. Was it considered maybe moving the sign on 20th a couple of bays over to, hey, this is where you park for Equinox, and, you know, somewhere where you can enter if you're talking about a Sansom Street location?
I don't think the parking is available for gym members. I think that's private resident parking. So they wouldn't be correlated to coming in through the garage entrance. And then on the 20th Street side, I think there is, and maybe Luba, you want to speak to where traffic will be directed for pedestrian entrance. But I think that might help clarify why this location was chosen.
Yes, if I may add, Luba, Senator Rova, Vice President of Entitlements for Equinox, thank you very much. The main entrance to the facility is on Walnut Street, and we have a tiny little sign over our main entrance. And that's the only one exposure that we have on Walnut Street. Then the majority of the facility on the second floor overlooking Sansom Street and 20th Street, and the balance of the facility on the third floor primarily containing the swimming pool, hot spa pool, and the cold plunge. So we, our design team, I think, put a lot of thought into placement of the signs. I think while we are going through Art Commission approval, we moved them a little bit up and down the building and side wide, just to make sure that everybody is in the same understanding. That would be the base placement. Obviously, we want them to be a little bit far apart from each other, but not too much far apart, so we can capture the foot traffic and vehicular traffic on these streets. And
sorry, Lou, but these locations were also chosen to be consistent with the flow of traffic, correct?
That is correct.
Vehicular traffic.
And pedestrian. So people, when they walk, they can see where the actual facility is located, and that almost like wraps the corner of the building.
Right, but I mean, certainly on 20th, you're above an entrance to Dear Daphne, which isn't very clearly marked. They don't have a blade sign. You know, anyone who's not familiar, I would go into that restaurant. And was there an attempt to put a blade sign on Walnut? You guys are set back. It's not an eyesore. Would our commission receive a proposal for that?
There was no attempt to put a blade sign on Walnut Street because our storefront exposure is very small. I think it's about like 10 feet long, and we have a canopy over it. So there was no, it wasn't feasible. And if we were to put another blade sign on Walnut Street, again, it will be outside of sort of our premise, somewhere on the building, and might be even, more confusing. And I think it was important for us to have like one sign on Walnut Street so everybody knows where the main entrance is. And then these two blade signs on the sides of the building basically identify sort of the location within the building of the rest of the facility.
Thank you. Okay, great. I'm going to go ahead and move on to Sam
Okay.
Gordon, if you want to have a question.
So I'm looking for the refusal. I'm not finding it. So is a blade, I know there, were you refused for
The
blades?
refusal, it's the height, right?
It's just the height. Are you seeing that now, or do I need to stop sharing?
I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. Let me just look.
Oops, sorry.
No, thanks.
There you go.
So yeah, I was under the impression that blades, the building signs had to be on the face of the building. I didn't know blade signs were actually allowed. Does anybody else on the committee know about this?
Yeah.
Signs aren't allowed to be projected.
Signs are not allowed to project.
Right. There's
So
two
it should have been
refusals.
refused for both projection and height.
It is. Number 2, projection signs are prohibited.
Okay.
So it just says,
It's
the
all
issue is that it's
this-
above the second floor windowsill.
No, but no,
Two
projecting signs are not allowed.
Got it,
Correct.
okay.
If you look at their picture 1.8, I'm trying to correlate it here, but you have smaller first floor blade signs across the street from the Pearl project for each and every tenant coming down that block. And you have the obviously big one we discussed, I think, a year ago for a restaurant across 20th.
And I believe the projecting signs are not permitted on Walnut Street.
Okay, and you're reducing to 10 feet. How big was it before Art Commission had you reduce?
Jeff, do you have the original dimensions handy?
I remember we reduced it by like 40% approximately. So given it's 10 now, it was like 14 in length, somewhat roughly.
16 feet tall.
Are there entrances on either Sansom or 20th Street?
There are no main entrances, but there are some access to the building primarily for emergency exiting or entrance in the, I mean, they're locked. They're not like
Okay, so there are no entrances to Equinox
They're
on
egresses.
Sansom.
Correct, Luba?
No
this-
entrances on unlocked. So there are doors that are locked, but mainly for the egress purpose, but not for entrance.
Okay, so this is purely advertising. This isn't to notify people that this is where you come into the building. You have a sign on Walnut Street above your entrance, which is a notification of where people should go in. But this isn't about that. This is advertising.
This is a much larger project than a typical retail tenant. And the issue is that there are so many uses at this location that identifying Equinox as a tenant in this space, because it wraps the entirety of the building, was very important. This is going to be their flagship location, their first location in Philadelphia, and they really wanted to let the neighborhood know that they are here. And I think that's part of the design, is to encourage foot traffic along both frontages to head to the entrance on Walnut. Because again, they are vastly limited in the signage permitted on Walnut Street.
So yes, it's advertising. It's not directional signage. It's advertising, telling people that there's a gym here.
I would rather characterize it as an accessory business sign, because usually advertising, when you have put advertising not exactly on the premises where you conduct business, this is right on the premise where the business is being conducted. It's not associated with the entrance to the building, but it is associated with the business being conducted right behind the walls of where the signs are attached to.
Okay, thank you. I'm done.
Ben Zuckerman.
Yeah. I must admit to being somewhat puzzled by the choice of these locations when there are no entrances.
Well, I don't really think that's a zoning matter. Honestly, like, these are the locations that they would like. I don't think that this is the forum to ask them to change their location.
They're asking to put these signs above the height when they're allowed, which is allowed, which is above the second floor windowsill. They can't do that. And I am wondering whether they explored just a flat sign on the facades of those two places instead of protruding up above the second floor. And particularly when there's nothing there that says where you can find the entrance. This puzzles me. And one thing which is secondary, did you consider turning the letters so that they were vertical, so that people don't have to turn sideways to read them? That's irrelevant, but I couldn't resist. But I am puzzled by the fact that you want these two big signs above where they legally can be, protruding from the building on streets where has nothing to do with the entrance to the gym.
Well, I think part of the issue, and I'll address, I guess, a couple of the questions sort of in the order they appear. Flat wall signs on the first floor aren't going to work here. They're not going to be visible behind the trees here. There are other tenants on the first floor that we don't have the ability to place our signage on. Our location in the building is at the second floor where the signs are proposed. When you walk by and see a gym in the building, it may be an inkling that it's a private tenant gym for the tenants in the building. That's not the case. So by allowing the signage where you see those treadmills does alert people that it's Equinox at this location, that you can apply for a membership to join Equinox here, rather than a private condo gym or apartment gym that you may just see walking by because you see the workout equipment in the window.
I understand the gym is open and operating now. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Have you received any complaints from people saying they couldn't find you? It's pretty visible on Walnut Street. I know somebody that goes there. I haven't heard of anybody having trouble finding you.
I think it's hard to garner the customers we don't have. We don't know who's having trouble finding us.
We're not like the membership count. We would expect it to be a little bit higher. But again, we just opened literally a few months ago. But I think additional signage will certainly improve on our ramping up of this club. And probably another point to make, as Kate mentioned in the beginning, this is our first, and we hope it's going to become our flagship location in Philadelphia. So for a flagship location, we thought it would be important to have an identity to basically identifying the volume of the gym. So it's not a small gym on what you can see on Walnut Street, but it's really like a large, spacious facility for people to come socialize and get all their workouts done. And if it performs well, with the help of signage and attracted people that may not know, we hope to probably install and open more facilities and more gyms in the city. And that's our goal, to have a flagship location to kind of let the residents and the businesses know what is Equinox and the size of the facility.
I just have one more question. Did you consider putting a large sign that says Equinox inside the window on the second floor on Walnut Street, where you actually are located?
We don't have anything on Walnut Street above the first floor, and as I mentioned, it's just a lobby and entrance. So anything above it would be intruding into someone else's space on Walnut Street. There is not much. I don't know if we have a picture of the Walnut Street, but if you, Kate, if you can go back to like the site plan where it shows the one of the
I thought the windows.
So on Walnut Street, if you could see here, this building on Walnut Street, the most right sliver with the double doors, that's our entrance.
Okay, I misunderstood. I thought your space extended out to the street level, the facade of the building on Walnut, but I see it does not.
Well, it does. The main entrance is on Walnut Street.
Yeah,
well,
but
that's just
like a
downstairs.
tiny entry.
That's just in the lobby. It's a doorway.
Yeah, it's a lobby. There's a reception. There's like sales offices, a little juice bar, and a little shop with some sports apparel. I think the size of it is about 1,500 square feet at most. The entire gym is about 30,000 square feet.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Joyce, do you have something still to add? Because I think that we should wrap this up.
Yes, this is related to the last question. So if I could understand, the hardship is the fact that you are on the second and third floor and you would like to exceed the second floor, the windowsill, because they are shielded by the trees. What exactly is the hardship?
Yeah, the
It is
requirement
a,
is to be below the second floor, but the space in which they want to advertise that has the sign is the second floor. So to be able to put the sign next to the space that it's representing, it would need to be above the second floor, which is the rule.
And Wade could correct me if I'm wrong. I saw in your presentation that the projection could not be more than 4 feet, and this is only 30 inches. Am I correct? So is there a projection limitation here?
We're only proposing a projection of 30 inches total, the 24 inches of the sign and 6 inches from the building.
Correct.
I don't think that it's clear that they're asking for any relief on projection in terms of looking at the actual refusal.
No,
Okay,
it's
so
just,
I'm going to go
just
ahead.
the height
Oh,
of the
sorry.
2 signs.
Just the height. Yep. Thank you for
Because it's
clarifying.
within the projection limit. Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Okay. I don't see anybody from the community with any questions, so I'm going to go ahead and say thank you so much for your time. Very thorough. And I think we can go ahead and end the committee session and go ahead and discuss and vote.
Great.
So thank you very much for your thorough
Thank you.
presentation.
Thank
you all. We appreciate
Thank you,
it.
everybody.
Thank you.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
You too.
All right, I'll end the
Just making
recording.
sure.